where equality is just another euphemism for mediocrity, where participation is more highly valued than achievement, where just enough to get by is the new standard of excellence. There is a small minority of people who fight back against such apathy, who struggle daily to reach new heights. These brave few are the hope for the future, the bright shining light for the next generation. They are the ones who will lead us to the places we have never dreamed of, to the undiscovered country, to reach goals only a few can even begin to imagine. Unfortunately, none of those people could be here tonight, so kick back and relax. Prepare yourself for several hours of fun, friendship, fascinating conversation, and fabulous music. All those F's, that's an alliteration and kind of a radio trick. Speaking of radio, you're listening to the most popular radio station in the history of broadcast radio, at least among stations that originate from Chris's living room. It's Curious Times. Your host is Curious Listener. Here she is, Chris.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Curious Times. It's Tuesday, January 8th already. And so we have Melissa Bruce, the heavy metal psychic. And she's here. So we'll catch up and see what's ahead for us here and what's the deal. When do we bring our I always say, like, astrology is kind of like the weatherman is to you for the weather, when to bring your umbrella. So we can maybe try and find out when we should have an umbrella and when we should have some sunscreen, because you don't want to get burned, eh? And so anyway, so Melissa's here, just to let you know the rest of the week. Oh yeah, okay, so now I didn't catch up with Salva to find out about Friday, but because she's switching to the last Sunday of the month, and so but in any case, tomorrow Kathleen Moore is here, and not much we know. Thursday we're off, and not much we know. So we'll see what, and we may have Salva on Friday. That's about the best I can do for you right now. Then we got Amy on Sunday, and so on and so forth. Monday will be Aaliyah Dawn, and a week from tonight, Lisa Nolan Shalusky. So that's what's on top. But here we have Melissa Bruce, the heavy metal psychic. And she's a psychic. She does astrology. She does tarot. She does, you name it. She does coaching. And she also, which I think is so awesome, sort of blends in some personal development into her training programs that she does. And so that's a good thing. I believe, and so I guess I'll be corrected, but maybe I'm just going to wait. And I'm going to bring Melissa, and I'm going to say, tell us what your website address is. It still the same? What's going on with the website?
The best way to get a hold of me is through the Heavy Metal Psychic Facebook page.
Okay.
For now. And then the website is a work in progress right now.
Oh, okay. But it will always be heavymetalpsychic.com, right?
Yes, or I'm not sure if I'm going to go through Wix or Webs right now, so there might be like a web.com in there or something, but it'll always be Heavy Metal Psychic, yes.
Yeah.
When you put Heavy Metal Psychic in a Google search, everything that has that name comes up. So my YouTube channel comes up, my Facebook page, anything. I think even my personal page pops up because it's in the description of my personal profile. So,
yeah. So you're easily found.
I am easily found. Yes.
There you go.
Really hard to lose me.
So how's the new year going so far?
So far, I think it's going pretty good. I am kind of in this sort of personal stage where it's like, okay, it's time to change certain things because obviously the way that they've been working isn't working.
Right.
So there's a little bit of that, but other than that, I think it's very positive. I've always loved the new year because my birthday is next month, and so as soon as Christmas is over, it's like, okay, everybody out of the way. It's all about me now for the next 3 months.
Yeah, well, don't you sure? Doesn't it seem like not so long ago that we had, wasn't it Corina and Melissa birthday?
It was a year ago. It was a year ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It was.
It's crazy, I tell you. You know, I cannot even believe it anymore, you know?
I know.
But anyway, all that
crazy.
time. Whether I choose to believe it or not, it's happening. So
it's happening. Exactly. Our birthdays haven't changed. They're still on the 15th of February.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like hi, Carol. How are you? Carol's out there. Dan's out there, and Diane and Marie. Hi, Marie. And someone's on 614. That I don't know who that. I know. I should know who that is. And Carol, just type in the chat room, Carol. Yes, the word yes if you want to come on and talk to Melissa a little bit later. No, we'll just go. Finally not at work. That's very good. That's very good. One of these days I hope to be able to say, finally I'm at work. See what one person's problem is the other person's, dream.
Oh, right. It's true. It's very true. I actually, this year, I'm biting the bullet to do a little bit of income supplementation. We have what they call Uber or Lyft, which are both, privately owned people with their cars picking people up. And my husband's been doing it off and on for a couple of years to sort of supplement. But I kind of signed on to get so he could get his bonus, but also just, it makes me more mobile, and I can really work anywhere doing what I'm doing. So
right. Yeah.
And I like the idea of being able to make money while I'm driving wherever it is that I'm going. So it just kind of gives me more opportunity to generate more money so I can do the things that I want to do. Because I want to be able to get out there and travel and have a physical presence in the world. But it takes money. It takes money to do it.
What's the deal with that? Because Amy was not having a very good time of being an Uber driver.
Actually, Uber is getting sued by most of their drivers right now. Uber's not a good company to go with. Yeah. When David first started, he signed up for both because he heard about both, and he would run both. And one of the things that he noticed was that the company Lyft actually paid out more of the fare to the driver because the drivers are doing all the work.
Right.
The company is just responsible for creating an app for the drivers can use, and that's, pretty much it. So, so he noticed that and stopped doing Uber. Because of that, the other thing is that I think that Lyft does a little bit of a better job in terms of how they do their background checks on their drivers.
Oh, good.
They do a thorough federal background check. So anything that comes up, if you have any kind of weird charges or anything, they're not going to let you be a Lyft driver. And Uber started out not doing that and got themselves in big trouble. And so now you're protected because when you choose a driver and you get to choose your own driver, you have a picture of their face. You have a picture of their car. There's no way that you're going to accidentally get into a car with a rapist or a murderer, which has happened with Uber. So I think Uber was the starting gun for this type of thing. Yeah. And they made so many mistakes that they gave themselves a bad reputation, whereas Lyft went in a little bit afterwards and says, oh, I see what you did there. We're not going to do that.
Right. Yeah.
So it's actually, I mean, you can just go drive around in your car and you can make up to, $100 to $150 a day just driving people around.
Yeah, but how much did that cost you in gas?
Well, it depends on your car. You have to have a newer car.
Yeah.
So it has to be like within 5 years old or something like that. Obviously, if you have a gas hog, it's going to cost you a lot. We have a little Toyota.
But you get to count that as a business expense, and so it's better for taxes.
Well, the mileage, actually, you get more if you write off the mileage than the gas. But yes, you can count either one of those things, just not both, as a business expense. Yeah. The other thing is that. So it may cost me $35 to fill up my tank, which I'm only going to do one time in all that driving time that I do during the day. So if I make $100 to $150, it's worth it. It costs me a tank of gas.
Right. Yeah.
Which I'm going to wind up putting in there anyways, and probably won't have money for it if I don't do the list.
So then the people pay like directly to Uber, and then they pay you. No money changes hands between the driver and the. No money changes hands
between the driver and them. It all goes through the app. They can tip you through the app. You get your full tips. They don't take any percentage of that, and they will pay you out once a week, like a weekly paycheck, or if you really need your money right now, you can cash it out that day. And they'll deposit it in your account that night. So it's convenient if you need money like right now.
Interesting.
It's got its good points and its bad points.
Yeah. I mean, I because if you think of, because you know what's happening is it's kind of allowing them to operate as a taxi company without having to follow all of the regulations that a taxi company has to.
That was a big problem too, because of course the taxi companies, you're going to pay a lot less for an Uber or a Lyft than you're going to pay for a taxi, and that was the problem. The taxi drivers went ballistic over that, especially in certain places like San Francisco and New York and different places like that, because they're making a ton of money out in these places. Now, regular people like us can go make that money instead, and of course people are going to pay less for a ride, and as with anything that, becomes the next new thing, everybody's going to jump on that, right? So everybody did, and now everybody is calling an Uber or a Lyft, and to heck with a taxi, we don't want to deal with taxis anymore. We have 3 international airports in the Bay Area. One of those airports, for about a year, they stipulated that they were not allowing Uber and Lyft drivers to come in and pick up passengers, drop them off.
Right.
They have assigned pickups for assigned different places, and, like the bus, the taxis, and all that stuff. Right. Every other airport has a space for Uber and Lyft pickup, except for that one of the biggest airports that we have in the Bay Area. Everybody's flying in and out of it, right? And it was in San Jose, not San Francisco.
Right.
Now, basically the city of San Jose went in there and said, you can't do that anymore. So they had to bite the bullet and let them in. But they were on the side of the taxi drivers.
But that's my thing is, like, that's fine. If you want to there's a perfect case, right? If you want to have the same privileges of a taxi company, then you should have to have the same obligation, like regulation-wise, licensing-wise, insurance-wise, WCB-wise.
We do.
I don't believe. I don't think so.
No, we do. The only difference is we are not using a company car. We are using our own cars, or you actually have the option to lease a car specifically for, doing Uber and Lyft, and you keep it as long as you're doing the Uber and Lyft. But we have to still pass a background check. We have to pass a DFV check, just like any other driver would. So they look at your driving record. They look at your criminal background. They look at everything.
Yeah.
So
that part obviously is fine, but it's all the finance. It's all the finance. Well, you have to have, but it's different kind of insurances. I think what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Like that for Jenny would know all this a lot better than me because she knows about taxi business. But and do you have to pay? Do you have to pay WCB?
I don't know what that is.
Workers' compensation.
No, you don't pay any taxes. You're an independent contractor. You pay all that stuff at the end of the year yourself.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what that's all I'm saying. Like, if you want to be like a competitor it's like if you want to be my competitor, that's great, as long as we're on a level playing field. You know what I mean? And that's all I'm saying. I think the taxi cab companies have a disadvantage, and I think that's how come a cab ride costs more, and like all that kind of stuff. But I know that each jurisdiction has had various responses from the cab industry.
Yes, they have, for sure. And it does suck for the cab companies, I agree. But at the same time, this is kind of how business is. You know, you have something that you use for a long time and then it changes. And, of course, the people that are stuck on the old way of doing it are going to be upset about it. And personally, I really had my misgivings about Uber and Lyft when it first came out because I wouldn't get in a car with somebody I don't know. For a woman by myself, I mean, yes, I'm pretty good at defending myself, but you never know what kind of circumstance is going to come up. And those circumstances did come up with Uber drivers, where they allowed family members to go take their ride for them because they didn't want to do it, and the guy wound up raping and murdering this woman.
Yeah.
And because, you know, she didn't know that he wasn't her driver. And so this is why they've added on all these extra things to make sure that both the driver and the passenger are comfortable, because on the flip side, you could get some weird, crazy passenger getting in. David actually had a woman get in the car with a can of beer. And he's like, you can't have that beer in this car. And she's like, well, why? I'm not driving. You still have to follow the same rules of driving, which is you can't have an open container in the car regardless of who's drinking it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have these little things too, of course, that you have to be aware of. But for the most part, because it's all digital, you're dealing with people who have credit cards. And that's where it makes it a little bit safer, because the people that you don't want in your car probably don't have credit cards either. Whereas taxi cabs, if they're dealing with cash, which is also a danger to them because the taxi cab can be robbed. See, I mean, I could be robbed of my car, but and maybe my wallet, but that's all they're going to get out of me. They're not going to get any actual cash in the car. And that's what I like about it, is that it all goes through electronics. It all goes through one space.
Yeah, interesting.
So, and they keep track of everything. They keep track of your miles. They keep track of how much money you make, so that at the end of the year, of course, all of that is sent out to you, so that you have access to it for tax purposes. I think that Lyft, especially, they did a beautiful job getting this together, and so I don't mind using the resource in order to get to the next level of where I need to be. Because
I don't have a beef with the individual drivers. They're like everyday people trying to make a few extra bucks. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I'm just saying that, like, Uber, the company, they should be treated in the same way business-wise as a cab company. That's all.
I agree.
And that's all I'm really saying, you know, and then it's a level playing field for everybody, you know?
It's true. I do agree with where you're coming from, but they also don't have, you know, like you said, they don't have to have the same rules, because it's individual people's cars. They don't have to have insurance on your car. You have to have insurance on your car.
Right.
And you can have just the regular insurance that you need to drive your car in order to do this. It's just that.
Oh, here you wouldn't be able to, because if you're using your vehicle for even if you're using your get a load of this. If you use your vehicle to go to work and it's more than 5 kilometers or something like that one way, you have to get business car insurance.
Oh, no, we're not that bad out here.
If your drive to work is less than that, then it's just personal car insurance you need, right? But if you're earning a living on that vehicle, for sure you have to have business insurance, and passenger, probably extra even on top of that, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we don't. Yeah.
Because if your business included having other people in your vehicle, those are people that could sue you, right? If you injure them, right? And if you got into a car accident, they'd be suing you if you were the one at fault, hey? And
but my insurance would cover it.
No, I got you.
Yeah. Our insurance is all inclusive, which thank God for that, because it's also like mandatory, even if it's a personal vehicle. So it's the insurance industry is pretty crazy out here. Yeah. But I won't complain after talking to you about yours.
Well, I mean, in a way, it's good. You know what I mean? No, because you don't run into these problems where somebody doesn't, isn't insured and you have no recourse and all that. Like, I think that happens down there in the States a lot, eh?
That happened to us, actually, because the 18-year-old girl who was already having a bad day at 8 o'clock in the morning when she wrapped my friend's car around our tree in the front yard, was underneath her father's business insurance, and they had a car that was fairly new, but he had a max payout of $5,000. So their car was worth more than or what they got. Maybe it was $2,000. Their car was worth way more than what they got, and they got screwed in the process because of that max thing. And they did not. He didn't get penalized for having somebody who didn't work in the company driving his truck.
Right.
And she was on drugs, obviously, when she hit our car. So, yeah, we do get screwed a lot because of that, because you could have the best insurance on the planet, but if the other person is at fault, you're pretty much dead in the water. So.
Yeah. And see here, like, I think that here, my insurance company would cover that then for me. If the other driver had nothing, then my insurance company will cover me. Mine will too. But I pay for the premium insurance for them to do that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So we have different levels. What we have are levels of insurance. The bare minimum doesn't cover much. But it's legal. But the more you pay in insurance, the more you're going to get covered, and the lower your deductible is, and all that stuff. On the flip side of our insurance, which never did make sense to me at all, but I had this instance years ago where my driver's side window was broken by a baseball. Kids were throwing it or hitting it or whatever. Anyways, I had a little baseball-sized hole in the window in the morning, and I called my insurance. And they sent me to a local place that wanted to charge me $850 to fix this window, okay? And that's in American dollars, not Canadian dollars, okay? Even in Canadian dollars, I would have laughed them right out of here, because down the street where I work.
How much did 800 American would probably be more like 1,500 Canadian, you know what I mean? Or maybe $1,300 for me, you know what I mean?
Well, down the street from where I work, there's a guy that would come to my work and replace the window for $150. I wouldn't have to sit in the shop with these idiots. And I actually, and of course, I'm a single woman. They do this all the time. I'm a single woman, and they think we're going to get money out of her. And I said, what in the hell cost $800 to fix this window? And he said, well, you got scratches here. We could fix those too, and you got this. And I said, I didn't ask you fix that. I asked you to replace the window. Oh, well, then it's going to be $500. And I told him to shove it. And I went to work, and I called the guy around the corner. He came out that day, replaced my window, and everything was hunky-dory. And I paid $150. Well, because I got quoted $850.
Oh, right.
My deductible's $500, so I was responsible for that. That means that technically my insurance company is responsible for $350. So I only paid $150. So I actually made $150 off of that. And I argued with that woman and tried to convince her that she did not owe me that money for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But she was adamant that they had to cut me this check. I said, fine, if you want to give me $350, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But you guys are screwing yourselves by doing this. I hope you know this.
And make a note to the file that I brought it to your attention. You insisted on sending it. You are therefore not allowed to come back later when you realize and get it back from me.
I talked to different insurance brokers. They all told me the same thing. This is how it works. So I went and told everybody that I knew. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Do exactly that. Call your insurance company, go to the really ridiculously expensive one, and then go wherever you're going to go to fix it. And because they may end up owing you money anyways. So
they probably make us get 3 quotes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Yes, they only went off of the 1 quote. I thought it was kind of ridiculous, but at the same time, when you think about I have a squeaky clean driving record. Okay, 10 years, blank sheet. That's that, right? I am a very good driver. My husband's a very good driver. We pay tons of money in insurance for protection. I mean, we're not really using it. We're not cashing it out at the end of the year. We've paid for insurance with this company for 5 years and never got any money back out of them.
Yeah.
So I kind of look at instances like that as...
Are they going to jack your premiums up because you made a claim now, though?
No, they didn't, because it wasn't a moving violation claim. It was a neighborhood kid broke my window claim. There's no way around that. So the only way that our insurance goes up is if we either add one of our sons to it, because they're both they're all under 25, or B, we actually get into an accident.
Yeah, that's your fault.
That's our fault. Yes. Yeah. So and you know we're I mean there's always the possibility of a mistake or an accident, but for the most part we're both I'm a very overly cautious driver because I live in California and you have to be. These people are crazy. Whereas my husband is kind of crazy with them because he knows how to play the crazy. So, and what's funny about that is 20 years ago it was the opposite of that. I was the crazy one and he was the more cautious one. So you kind of have to be on both sides when you live out here. It's not as bad as New York, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah. I'm fine where I am. Yeah, I'd even be fine in a smaller town. It wouldn't bother me at all. I don't need to be in no big hustling, bustling, place. But anyway, so when we were talking, was it you that said you had a bunch of road trips planned for this year?
I do. I'm currently working on a trip up to Seattle and back. So I'm about mid-California, and my goal is to take 2 weeks to road trip up to Seattle, doing some workshops and parties, and then road trip my way back down again, hitting up different places in between. So I'll be hitting up Portland, I'll be hitting up Seattle.
That might be Dan's. I don't know if you'll be in Dan's neighborhood or what. Maybe. Not sure. I can't remember where he lives. I think he lives somewhere. Huh? Where are you at, Dan? Oh, I thought I heard Dan talking to me. Oh my God, I really am going crazy. I thought I heard him. Now? Yeah, I can. Were you talking to me?
No, actually, I was typing in the chat.
Oh, I was hearing you. Anyway, I was hearing you. Well, so what's the answer?
I live west of Seattle, kind of the Bremerton area, and I work in Tacoma, so you'd have to go right past where I work to get to Seattle.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, I'm going to be stopping in Tacoma or around Tacoma also.
Give him a honk and a wink, because he'll be like on the road crew or something. He'll be in a truck, probably.
Okay, I'll just drive around
enjoy the mess.
I'll drive around the highway with my head hanging out of the window going, is there a Dan out here?
Mm-hmm.
CB Channel 5.
I don't have a seat in my car, and let's not tell my husband to get one because he will, so.
Well, there you go. So there you go. If you go drive by the construction crew, Dan's in a big truck somewhere.
Yeah, and it's a mess out there, I-5 in Tacoma. So just so you know, be prepared to sit.
I'm sure. Yeah, I've dealt with I-5 in all parts of California, and 101, of course, in all parts of California. So I'm ready for just about anything. I mean, it could look like nothing to me, but you never know. So I'm looking forward to it, though.
All righty. Well, I'm gonna get back to making dinner.
Okay, thanks, Dan. What's for supper, anyway? Wait, come back.
It's almost like shepherd's pie, except I'm just using ground beef.
I never did understand shepherd's pie, personally. I don't get it.
It's like meat and potatoes right there on your plate in one scoop.
And
I like to have my meat there, my potatoes there, my vegetables here.
Well,
nice
that's
little
why.
triangle, and with maybe some pickles on the perimeter of the plate, around the perimeter. Maybe I'd like sort of like eyebrows. You know what I mean? And pickle eyebrows on my plate. And so anyway, okay, good. Well, that's good. That sounds good. Okay, well, I'll talk to you later. Thanks, Dan.
Okay, bye.
See ya. Okay, so you are going to be in Dan's neighborhood. There you go.
I will be, yes. Probably. Now we have some things that we are working on right now, and so this could change. But I'm looking at hopefully hitting that up in the summertime. Because I want to get away from our heat by going where it's not as hot.
Oh, you want to go right? Okay.
Yeah.
See, smart travel planning right there.
Absolutely, yes. And the other thing is that the mountain range in between Oregon and California has a lot of snow, and we are not driving through snow. So. Oh yeah. No, we try to avoid snow as much as possible. We're California people. We've been bitching because it's been 28 degrees at night, and that's flipping cold for us. Okay. Yeah. I understand that other people have negative 28, but that's we don't even know what that feels like. You know.
Yeah. I got it. Nor do you ever want to find out.
Every time somebody says that, you think you're cold. Well, my answer is always, I don't live where you do for a reason. Exactly. I can't do that. So
yeah, like I gotta wonder about people that want to go to Alaska on vacation in the winter. You know, I don't understand going to a cold place for vacation. I only equate nice warm place with vacation.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, people go to Tahoe all the time. They want to go and play in the snow, and I don't ski, I don't snowboard, I don't do anything in the snow. I sit inside and drink coffee or hot chocolate, and for what I'm doing there because I can't leave. I'm surrounded by snow.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know how other people in the country deal with it on a daily basis.
No, but I guess that's what makes the world go around, different people. Like, if I was younger and that, and like the skiing thing, and then there's a reason, you know, but I mean, that's just a weekend. That's not like my summer vacation, I'm going to go somewhere that's cold, or I'm going to instead of having summer vacation, I'm going to take my vacation in the winter, and I'm going to go to a cold place. No.
Yeah.
No.
It's summer here, though, in this part of California, because once you get out of the San Francisco Bay Area and extreme northern California on the coast or anything coastal, it's hot. It's very hot in the middle. So I can tell you that I have dreamed of Alaska in the middle of July and August several times.
Yeah.
Out here because it's 105 degrees and it sucks.
Right. I mean, on summer and even if you went in summer, like it'd be probably not that hot, you know, but it wouldn't be like an Alaskan winter. I don't think you'd ever ask to go to an Alaskan winter.
No, I wouldn't. It's the same time, so we're just dream.
What's your dream vacation destination? If the cost was no barrier and how you're going to get there isn't an issue, or how long you're going to stay isn't an issue, or how much that's not an issue, but where's your dream vacation?
I'm actually planning it, hopefully, for next year. And I wish that money wasn't an issue because I'd be there tomorrow. But England and the islands is my dream destination. Yes, I just want to roam around for as long as it takes for me to roam around the entire 2 islands.
Yeah.
And from castle to castle, or forest, whatever they got over there, I want to see all of it.
Yeah, interesting. So you probably have a past life connection.
I believe that I have a few, because I have picked up over the years some ties to a lot of different lifetimes, and there's a couple of them that I feel are very pulled to that area. And my last lifetime specifically, I've had a lot of connections with from the time I was little. I even dreamed of zeppelins in the air, or what I thought were silver shiny bullets in the air. Yeah. And so I through those things and through meditations and also connections, specific past life connections, I do believe, I'd say about 95%, that I was a victim of bombing in World War II in London.
Interesting. Oh, London.
So, in London. There was a lot of places that were bombed, but I'm very strongly pulled to London specifically.
Yeah.
And then other past lives too. And I'm just fascinated with English history. I mean, I love history, but there is just something about that country that just pulls me in on so many levels, in so many different time periods. And, you know, I just want to be able to see it and touch it and smell it. And
now, the thing is, it's just not unlike any other country either, right? Which is to say that, you know, you can go to one place in Canada, for example, and have an entirely different experience from someone else that goes to a different place in Canada. Yeah. And just like in the United States, right? Like, you could go, West Coast is way different than going to New Orleans for vacation, right?
Yes.
And like that kind of thing. So, and so I did go to England, and I enjoyed it, and I liked the people, although quite racist, you know what I mean? But I couldn't cope with no sunshine. But then if you go more to the, so that was more north, eh?
Yeah.
Blackburn, and like, which is like a little, maybe a few hours or something from Manchester or something like that. And, but if you go more south, then they apparently get more sunshine then, so it's not really the same, you know. But it was interesting to go there. Very interesting.
The differences in different parts of England are a lot more subtle than they are, say, in Canada and the United States. We're so diverse in the different parts of the country, and of course we take up more space than England, both of us do.
Yeah.
But what I love about England, and there's other countries in Europe that have done this, but I think England has probably done it the best, is the preservation of their history in England. It's fascinating that you can
it's because the conquerors,
so far back.
What do they say? Like the winners write history, and so they conquered half the effing world. You know what I mean?
They did, and none of them were English, by the way. They haven't actually. The English haven't been ruled by an English language for years.
I know. Don't. You're messing my head up. You know what I mean? Like, stop talking that nonsense. I'm kidding.
But what I love about that is that you can, it's one of those few places in the world where you can walk into a building that has been standing there for 1,000 years. Yeah. And I want to be able to walk into Westminster Abbey and know that every single monarch has been crowned in this place that I'm standing in. To me, there's so much power in that feeling.
Right.
And I also would like to go and be able to, on an empath level, connect to different places that I can feel I have been in previous times, just to kind of see what I can get from that. So
right, yeah.
I think it would be amazing, and I've always told people that I'm a Californian that should have been born English, but the only problem with England is the weather. I do not think I could tolerate it being that cold all the time.
Well, it's not. Well, see, now I found it to be perfectly warm. Like for me, it was an anomaly to be. I was there in I think, did I get there for Christmas or just after Christmas? In any case, it would be tail end December, early January into about, I think, mid-January or the third week of January. I was there till, and so I was in just a fleece vest with just a light jacket on underneath that. In January. That's like something that you wear here in September.
Right.
And so I'm out there, and they were like in winter jackets with fur-lined hoods and everything like that, right? And I was just laughing myself silly looking at them, you know?
Well, because you're from Eskimo country. It's just...
Well, I know, right? So to me, that was like, I mean, it wasn't below freezing, you know what I mean? And it rained quite a bit while I was there, but that's because I was up north. And, but yeah, it was, as for the cold, it was fine, you know what I mean? So I enjoyed it. The funniest thing is I have a picture of a sign I took there. Well, it's two really interesting pictures that I have. One is like, because wherever I've been, like 11 and 11 has always been significant for me, and 111, you know what I mean? And so I got home, I didn't even notice it when I took the picture, but when I was looking at the pictures after, like, so there was a double-decker bus I saw, and I wanted to take a picture of a double-decker bus, because I'm a corny, stupid Canadian, yeah?
Right.
And, yeah, and so anyhow, I take the picture, and here going one way in, you know, on my side of the street is the bus 11 that I was like taking the picture of, but then on the opposite side of the street, you see part of the double-decker bus that's going the other way, and it's number 11. So there was 1111 again.
That's
in
cool.
the space, you know, and yeah, double-decker buses, 11, like that, like it's just entendres all over the place there with that. But that picture, and then a picture from Starbucks, and it's a picture that says, you know, to preserve the quality of our coffee, we ask that you not smoke. Like, forget about that, it's killing other people and secondhand smoking. I'm like, just don't ruin our coffee, because your stinky, filthy smoking ruins our coffee. And I just couldn't even believe it, you know what I mean? And so that was hilarious to me. It's like, to preserve the quality of our coffee, no smoking or whatever it was.
Yeah. That's Starbucks. I absolutely refuse to give that company any money at all.
Yeah, I'm not a Starbucks fan. I don't like the taste of their coffee, whether I agree with them as a company or not.
Yeah, I don't care for it either.
Sucks. Yeah, you know. I think there was ever only one thing that I didn't mind once in a while was like the vanilla bean frappuccino thing or whatever, which, you know what I mean? Which you can make your own.
Yeah, I can too. I have a Keurig. I can make whatever I want.
I can make one with a good blender, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but anyhow, so okay, so you're going to be on the road, the heavy metal psychic on the road. That'll be good. That'll be good fun. And so now we're going to take now let me just look here because I don't know if I have anyone. Okay, I see Jay is there. So he's probably going to want to come on. Carol, are you just listening or do you want to come on? Yeah, she said yes, but I don't know what yes means. Like if yes means yes, I'm just listening, or yes, I want to come on. So I want to find out from Carol and even Mary Margaret and even, well, Amy and Dan are all there. And I see Jay there. So, okay, Carol wants to come on, too. Okay, so we're going to have a couple or a few callers for you. So I was thinking that, yeah, that's okay, Carol. Oh, well, I thought I saw you there with your mic is all hooked up, Carol. Is it that you don't have a headset or something? Anyway, So why don't we, I do want to, let's take the calls after the break, and then hopefully there's time and we can wrap with trying to see if there's any umbrella days in the near future for us astrologically. Okay?
That sounds good. And right before we take a break, we'll leave you all with this, okay?
Yeah.
I saw this on Facebook today. This actually happened here in California. Police are trying to track down a man who spent 3 hours licking someone's doorbell at their home in the middle of the night.
Oh, my God.
Yes, this actually happened.
That's
drugs
disgusting.
Are bad, people. Drugs are bad. Okay? Drugs are bad.
Yeah. That's disgusting, isn't it, really? Wow.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, we're getting to the point where, you know, we have to report this on the news. This guy licked somebody's doorbell for 3 hours. Like,
Yeah.
It's disgusting. But yeah, drugs are bad.
Pretty scary crapola right there. Okay, let's take our break and we'll come back. We'll take some calls and then we'll try and see when our umbrella days are that are coming up. Here we go, guys. I picked the wrong song. I picked the wrong song, and that's okay because Jenny's going to cut this part out anyhow. So this is the one I meant.
The exodus is here.
going to toss another quick one here.
Are you looking for a place to meet like-minded people? Are you a metaphysical practitioner, psychic, medium, or healer, or all of the above? We've got a place for you. IntuiTalks.com. Join for free, listen to spiritual radio shows, get a free website, watch and participate in classes, and so much more. Join the old spirituals, all on the One Roof Network, www.IntuiTalks.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit. And expect a miracle.
All right, we're back. Welcome back, and the crickets finish it. Okay. Okay, quick shout-out, and then we'll get going here. Hi, Carol. Dan is there. Diane, Marie, Mary Margaret. How are you? Melissa's our guest, the heavy metal psychic. And I think that's Dan on the phone, and then that's Amy on the phone. And then Carol's on the phone, and then Jay is on the phone. So let me go and get Melissa. Hello, Melissa.
Hello, Chris.
Chris. Okay. How did I know you were going to do that? Okay. So shall we take these two? I think there's two.
Yeah, that's fine. I am ready for anything.
Let's go get him. Let's go get. Let's go get. I guess that's Jay. I already said Happy New Year to you. So, what's going on, Jay? How you doing?
Great. How about yourself? Welcome to the new year again.
It is the new year again. So, you got a question for Melissa?
Yeah. Say yeah. Welcome to the new year, Melissa.
Thank you. Same to you.
Yeah. Hey, just wanted to know what's the store for. I think I asked as well specifically for an Aries, but for my chart for just the first 3 months, I just wondered I don't know which direction I should take for this year. Since last year was kind of terrible with well, not terrible. It's kind of like lost 2 people last year, so.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. I've been on that slump for like 2 years, and I'm like, okay, 2019, let's just have everybody live for 1 year. Just give me a year off from this so I can recover here. Okay, well, the first things first is I kind of feel like it might be a little bit of a rocky start for you. So I'm looking at January right now. 2 things are going on in January in Aries. First is that Uranus is retrograde. Everybody laugh. Your ass backwards, okay? Your ass backwards. And in Aries, so he's moved back into Aries during this retrograde period. But that is, okay, I think this happened last year too, or last month. When I looked at the retrogrades, the charts weren't matching up with the retrograde schedule. So the retrograde schedule says Uranus is still retrograde until April. My chart says it ends sometime this month, okay? I like that it ends sometime this month. We'll go with that for now and then change it up later if we have to. So he'll still be in Aries, and also Mars is moving into Aries. That is your ruling planet. The good thing about Mars being in your ruling planet is you will feel like you're getting back some of that energy that you've lost because of the things that you've gone through in 2018. So it sort of gives you some motivation a little bit. It gives you a little bit of a fire to get going, maybe even take you out of that feeling like nothing is working for you and projecting you into more of a mindset of, okay, I'm the ruler of my life again, kind of a thing, if that makes sense.
Okay.
The downside to this is that in January for you, both of these planets are focused on the inner closet house, which is the internal self. So what this means is you could be dealing with some old anger issues that you've had closeted in there for a while that you haven't been dealing with. Those things circumstances may bring some of those things up. It's uncomfortable when that happens and nobody wants to deal with it. But when it does come up and you deal with it on an internal level, not reacting to what's going on, but looking at it in terms of where did this anger issue start? I'm feeling abandoned right now. Where did this abandonment issue start? To be able to come to terms with that abandonment issue is helpful so that situation doesn't keep coming up to plague you from here on out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It does.
So it's all in how you are interpreting it, and it's all in how you are looking at it. The good news is that we're looking at about right now, actually, 7th, 8th, and 9th, the part of fortune is in Aries. So these are lucky days for you. And also, we end the month with the part of fortune in Aries for the last 2 days of the month. So you got 5 lucky days in here, which is good. That kind of sort of, to me, the part of fortune brings in this sort of energy that just makes things happen without having to work so hard for them, which is a good thing. And that kind of energy spread out throughout the month is going to be helpful to you. Once we get out of January, where you won't have Mars in there anymore, and in the next few months, Uranus can move out of Aries again and back into Taurus, things are going to smooth out for you. So what you're going to be expecting in the first few months is it's a rough start. But once you get through January and into February, March, even April, things are going to start moving again, and you won't feel like you're stuck, if that makes sense. Because that word is very much prevalent around you right now. I am just stuck in this, and I feel like every time you start to get a little bit of ahead, it seems like you're sucked back into this. The best way to describe it is a mood. Okay, you just get stuck in this mood where everything is just crap, and you don't want to be in that mood anymore. You're actually looking for a piece of you that you feel that you've lost in a way. And that piece of you is what motivated you up until this point. You haven't lost it. It's hard to find it when you've had to deal with so many other things, especially in the last few months, because I do see that there was loss, yes, as in loss of a person, but there were other losses at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, friends and
right.
Yeah.
Like ending of relationships. Those are all considered losses, and when they're paired up with a physical loss, the grief cycle, it's almost like the grief cycles match up in that moment. And so it's hard to peel all of these losses apart and deal with them as individual losses, which I do see that you have been doing to a certain extent. But I know exactly how you feel. I'm coming out of this as well myself, and one of the things that does help me is I really have to, and this is hard for an Aries, because Aries is a social wild child kind of a sign, whereas Aquarius is not. But you got to separate yourself from all of the negative Nancys, from all of the naysayers, from all of the people that seem to have an opinion about everything. Don't share your ideas, because as soon as you share that idea, there's always somebody to stand up and go, that's a stupid idea, you shouldn't do it, I don't know why you're wasting your time, right? They may think it's a stupid idea. That does not mean that it is at all. So separate yourself from that a little bit. You don't have to be out in the middle of everybody, but at the same time, you do have to push yourself out to be with people every now and then, because too much alone time for you is not good either. So it's going to take baby steps, but you are going to get there, and by April, May, things are going to be quite different than they are right now.
Yeah, for myself, it's I think it's a little bit difficult. Well, I find it's been difficult for many, many years. Just socializing with people of like-minded people, right?
It is difficult because I'm a very intellectual person on top of a spiritual person, and so I don't like the lower vibrational. I don't like the gossip. I don't like that kind of stuff, and so it really does feel like there's very few people that I can actually socialize with in the world. That's where my business kind of helps with that, because it forces me to socialize with them anyways, and keep my opinions to myself. Which is hard for an Aries or an Aquarius to do, honestly. We're very quick with our opinions. But at the same time, don't socialize in the same places. Pick new places to socialize at. Pick new places to go and visit and check out and see. That adventuresome spirit is so ingrained in an Aries that when you don't have that, it can cause a lot of problems for you personally and physically and emotionally, because you sort of need that stretch. You sort of need those people. And even though you don't need the lower vibrational people, go out and find those other people, those like-minded people. And then when you do, you'll realize just how not really like-minded people they really are, because that happens too sometimes. So it's annoying, but eventually you find another intellectual or another somebody that you can click with, and it's just awesome. And those are the times that I live for, when I do find those people. But I'm not going to lie, I'll go through a whole night of meeting just a bunch of people that I don't need to talk to ever again, honestly. So it's. Us highly intellectual people, we all have that issue, unfortunately, especially in the world like it is today. It's really bad. There's just way too many ridiculous opinions floating around out there, and way too many uneducated people talking about them. So,
yeah, I find that too when you're talking about current events or even health stuff. Like it's like just they, I don't know.
But Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the mainstream stuff and just silly things. So
They do, but even I've even found people in the quote unquote spiritual realm, this day and age especially. I actually met a guy that lived here where I live who was a medium, and I thought, oh my God, I'm not the only one, and I got really excited, and I thought maybe we could work together and we could definitely talk about spiritual stuff. And he was a fellow Aquarius, so he's an intellectual, and he turned out to get offended by something that I said and blocked me on Facebook. It just, as quickly as it happened. So, even when you're talking to people who are quote unquote like-minded, I guess, in a way, they're not always like-minded. And one of the biggest issues, or one of the biggest challenges I think I've had to face, is the acceptance of that, because I have very high expectations for other people. They're almost too high, to the point where nobody can actually meet those expectations, and it's forced me to kind of lower my expectations a little bit to give people a chance. Because sometimes these people or we are put in the position to be with people like this for a reason. I don't have to get on a soapbox and change everybody's mind right now, but one simple little something that I say that makes them think is going to stay with them for a long time. And it's those little things, too, that, kind of sort of get me out there more as well, because it's not just about how they're boring me. It's about how I might be improving them or helping them to see another side of the picture, because to me, that's what spirituality really is. It's looking at all sides, not just being stuck on one. So it all depends on how you do it. Yeah, there's always going to be those cases, and there's really not much we can do about that. I find them entertaining, honestly. Like the guy licking the doorbell,
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
That's why the drugs are bad, because it is California, and he's probably on something, So it is what it is, and I find that being entertained by it takes a lot less energy than being frustrated by it.
That's true. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. Well,
so yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, just be prepared for the changes that are going on in the 3 months. So, and for myself, it's actually creativity and things. So I'm just planning some stuff for the year, and kind of like getting on my feet again. So I'm going through some motivational stuff tomorrow on Thursday, and doing a workshop on vision board type of thing. So
awesome.
For this year.
I do like the use of vision boards. They work really well. And yeah, and I think a lot of people, 2018 was a rushed year all the way around. I mean, everybody experienced something, and I think that we are all, I'm even seeing this in companies where they're just not quite up to mark. Normally you'd have Valentine's Day stuff and Christmas hadn't even started yet, and they were just way behind the mark this year. I feel like as a whole, the year kicked the stink out of us. And it did so in such a way that even those of us who, would get smacked down and get back up because we're fighters are sitting here going, nah, you know what, just give me the towel so I can throw it. I'm done. I'm exhausted. It's hard to become motivated in order to change the situation because we've been kicked so hard. And I think a lot of people went through this, especially last year, but 2017 and 2018 just were really hard, kick you in the gonads kind of years. And 2019 feels like it's going to be a lot lighter, not quite as heavy. World things are still going to happen. It's still going to be stupid. Nothing is going to change there necessarily. But I think that for us overall, in terms of our mindsets and emotionally where we are, it's going to move forward rather than feel like we're either slightly sliding backwards or just not moving anywhere at all.
Right.
It just feels lighter to me. So I'm going to go with, I'm hoping that what that means is that it's going to be easier for everybody.
Awesome. Yeah, like I said, 2018 was a really interesting year for people I'm talking to people. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I talked to anybody who said, "Oh my God, 2018 was a fantastic year." And I talked to a lot of people. So, you know, if there are people out there like that, they're few and far between. Yeah. For the majority of us, it's just, you know, here, let me kick your ass and then kick your ass some more, you know. Okay, well, I'm just going to lay here because I just don't have the energy to get up and fall down again. So, got to ration it these days.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks
All right,
for
Jay.
the insight for 3 months, and yeah, welcome to the new year, and we'll see what happens. So.
Yeah.
See what happens and make it happen.
Pardon me?
Yeah.
See what happens and make it happen. That's one of the main reasons why I decided to become a Lyft driver is because there are certain things that I need to supplement, and there's certain things and certain decisions and certain changes that have been made in my household, not necessarily by me, although some of them are my responsibility, that have not worked. And so this is a decision that I made in order to get myself back where I need to be. And a year ago at this time, I would have said, I run a business and I'm all that important because I run a business. I don't need to be driving Lyft. Well, obviously that didn't work. So this year we're going to do something else. I'm going to change things up a bit. I'm going to not step away from my business, but incorporate something else into my business so that it helps that my business isn't getting stagnant. Mm-hmm. And also so that I can feel like I'm contributing more to what we need to do at the same time. And so it kind of works out. And this way I can sort of, you know, work in two different places. I can work for two different companies basically by doing the same thing. So it's it can be little changes like that make a huge difference. Just knowing that I'm doing something else and generating income is going to help me transfer my focus and my motivational focus, whereas staying stuck in the same problem that I've been having is not going to work for me. And so even if I have to force myself to make that change, that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Okay, we're going to park you, Jay. Thanks for calling, and have a great rest of the night. And let's go get Carol. Hi, Carol.
Hi, how are you doing?
Happy freaking New Year.
Chris.
Okay. Pretty good, okay. What's going on, Miss Carol?
Things aren't really too bad. They're just overwhelming. You know, it's just work. That's all.
Yeah.
Not complaining. Be grateful, but just
I hear you.
Holy schmoly, how the hell did I do this? But anyway.
I totally get it.
Oh, man.
I totally get it. I actually spend way too much time sitting here thinking, I don't think I can go back to an office job. I don't think I could sit there all day. I don't think I could deal with the office politics. I don't think I could keep myself from slapping people that I work with these days. You know?
I'm telling you what, you don't know the half. I mean, you don't even want
I'm
me to
sure.
go there.
It's changed in 10 years. Just 10 short years. It's a completely different ballgame even here. It's nuts. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have my own opinion on what's going to happen this year, but
as long as you have one.
I do. But like for Libra, what do you say? I will tell you for the. I need to just shut up. But I'm just going to say this I'm going to shut up, really.
Yeah, you should. Let's just you listen to your own advice for just a minute, and then you can tell me afterwards. How about that?
Okay, good.
That was your guides, by the way, trying to tell you to shut up. God, you can't shut this woman up. Okay. Air signs, that's what we do. We'd like to talk, you know.
I know.
Okay, so I actually am very intimately connected with Libra because I'm kind of hoping that it's going to be a really good year for my husband, too, because he's had a rough couple of years. The first things first with Libra is that no planets that are slow-moving are going to be going through Libra this year. So we don't have Jupiter anymore. It's moved on. Pluto is still not going to leave Capricorn for, another several years. There is Neptune, and Uranus is completely on the opposite end. So that being said, the only planets that we're going to be dealing with astrologically for Libras is, of course, the Sun and the Moon. Moon comes in every single month, and then probably Mars and Venus at some point, and Mercury as always. So with no major planets being in the sign for long periods of time, you'll probably have a few times during the year where things might get a little bit either crazy in a good way. They could go either way, crazy in a good way, crazy in a bad way. I always say that I prefer to have no planets in Aquarius because it seems to work better for me than if I have the quote-unquote help from any of the planets. I cursed Mars and almost shot his red butt right out of the sky last year because I was done with him, you know. Not only was he there, but he went retrograde, spent 2 or 3 months. It was the most miserable 2 or 3 months of my life, you know. Just get out and move on. So I'm just looking here really quick just to see if there's any retrogrades in Libra, which I'm not seeing here. No. We don't have any Mercury retrogrades in the air signs this year. Thank goodness for that. And where are... okay, I'm going to go with Mars is not going retrograde this year, and I'm not seeing Venus on here, and I'm not sure why I'm not seeing Venus on here. So I'll have to look that one up. Venus is Libra's ruling planet. So Venus actually went retrograde in Scorpio and Libra this year. The chances of it going retrograde again in Libra are not very good. So that's good. And as far as the time that she'll be there, Venus tends to add a lot of creativity to Libras when she comes in to Libra. As long as she's not in opposition or anything like that, which in terms of Aries, there's not going to be a whole lot of planetary influence in Aries either. So unless it happens when the Sun is in Aries, which is looking at its position right now is not going to happen, you shouldn't have any issues. Actually, her placement in Libra is gonna work out better for you because it'll add a new level of creativity to whatever it is that you're doing. Now, a couple of things that I am seeing happening for you specifically is I am seeing, you said you're work right now, but I am seeing a change in how you're working. It could be either a promotion or it could be a different job or a different way of doing your job. And I'm seeing this transition happening sometime between April and June. So April, May, June, those are very significant months for you in terms of change around how your finances come in. Okay, I'm getting a very good sign that it's more money coming in and not less money coming in, which is good. The other thing that I'm being shown is you also have some sort of, I'm not sure if this is a side business that you have, an idea of a side business that you have, or it could even be volunteering your time in an organization. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. That is something that's actually not going to be so prevalent in the beginning of the year, as the importance is going to grow more around the end of the year. And I see a big significance around the holidays this year. So we're starting October, November, December are really big months for this particular type of thing. And I want to say, I actually want to move more towards this is actually part of an organization and not necessarily a side business. But I also want to go back and forth, like it changes. Does that make sense?
I don't know about that yet.
What that means is you haven't made the decision on which way you're going to go.
I'm not sure which way I'm going to go with anything, believe me.
Okay, well, Libra indecisiveness, there you go. Maybe that's why it's showing me that it's flipping back and forth. So I'm also being told, speaking of that decision-making thing, because one of the things that I'm being told is you don't like making on-the-spot decisions.
No, I think that's true.
Yes. Yes. Now, that being said, in a work situation where you're working, if you have to make a decision right then and there, you'll make the decision. Not a problem. This has to do more with your personal feelings about something. If your feelings get in the way, it's harder to make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
So, that being said, I am being told to tell you I'm being shown the month of March, and in that time period, you will be faced with a decision that you have to make a decision on, and you're not going to be able to take a bunch of time to think it through. I'm also told to tell you that your intuition is always spot on, Carol.
Mm-hmm.
This is Carol, right? Okay? Your intuition is always spot on, and your intuition is going to be spot on in this as well. So don't question it or analyze it. Just go with your gut and let it go. And everything is going to work out just fine. I also don't see this as one of those decisions that's going to be the life or death of somebody either. But there are times when those decisions feel like that.
Right.
Okay. So I don't feel that it's quite that big of a decision, but it is a pretty big decision. At least in your book of decisions, it is a pretty big decision.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus. You know.
What can I say? I have like 4 Libras in my family, so you know they're all pretty much the same, and that's why I love them. But yeah, so there's some things that are coming up. There's decisions that need to be made that are coming up this year, and I think that one of the reasons why these specific decisions are coming up is to kind of sort of give you an opportunity to learn through that thinking process, if that makes sense. And also, I'm being told to tell you, no, you're not supposed to disconnect how you feel from the situation, because that's part of your decision making. But you don't want to make a decision based on how you feel about it. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
So Libras are all about balance. They're the scales. And the reason they're all about balance is because they are an air sign, intellectual, head-driven sign, ruled by Venus, an emotional planet. So it's like you've got both the masculine and the feminine working. They either work together or they work against each other. And every Libra's lesson is how to make the two work together so that you can make the right decision.
Oh, jeez. Melissa.
So I'm sorry. I don't know what to say.
I like to think things through, you know, to make the right decision. I like to, I like to take my time and think about it and pull myself out of it.
Thinking things through is one thing, but it's the difference between I'm going to take a week to think this through and make a decision, or I'm going to take 6 months to think this through and make a decision. That's where Libras always get messed up. I mean, I've been waiting for my husband to make this one decision he just made for like 2 years. I'm exhausted. I didn't even have to make the decision.
Yeah.
But it's in trying to help him come to the right decision, which is what's best for the family, is why I'm exhausted now. Like, I need a vacation from that because it took up way more of my energy than it should have.
Right.
But, and that's possibly why it took him so long to come to a decision, because we Aquarians are very black and white. Okay, you either do it this way, you do it this way, here's the consequences, make the decision, move on. Right? Libras are not like that. They're like, well, okay, but if I do this and then this could happen, I really like being over here and I'm comfortable over here and this could be scary. I don't really know about it, but it does sound good. I don't know. 2 years of that, Carol. I'm exhausted. Just exhausted. Somebody give me a drink, even though I don't drink.
Yeah. At least the decision was made, though. You're good.
Finally, yes, finally. And I can celebrate with you guys here. Now, hopefully it stays that way because you never know. We've made a few decisions and then it turns, and just kidding. We didn't really make that decision. So, it just, and with that, that's, part of my experience with Libras. It wouldn't have been a decision like that had his heart not been involved in it. That's what it comes down to is Libras have a tendency to have loyalty to people. If they show any kind of loyalty to them, they are loyal to these people. They're loyal to a fault.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And because of this, it takes a lot. They will excuse a lot of bad behavior because I'm loyal to you until it becomes toxic. And so, unfortunately, Libras become victims of toxic relationships, regardless of what the relationship is. Because of that loyalty, it winds up getting in the way. So what you have to do is change that loyalty. Who are you most loyal to? If it's not you, then you've picked the wrong person.
Well, yeah, you are correct. You are correct. I am loyal to me, but I will tell you this. I've got my handicapped son that I am very loyal to, and he comes first before I will ever come.
That's different. That's completely different. I'm talking about being loyal to an employer that's not paying you. Yeah.
Well, I suck at that too.
It's hard. That's one of the things that makes Libras so wonderful. As a couple, my husband and I don't see eye to eye in social situations. He wants to be social with everybody. He wants everybody to love him. He wants to entertain everybody. I will find the one person that I actually want to talk to and stick with them because, everybody else I just haven't really felt that connection with, So I'm actually not very social, whereas he's extremely sociable. What works in that dynamic is we can cover everything. What doesn't work in that dynamic is how many times, from my perspective, how many times does that person have to tell you he's waiting for a check to get a storage to come pick up his crap when it's been 6 months? Okay? Then it only takes maybe twice, I might give you twice, before I put it out on the street and somebody can just come pick it up. It's thousands of dollars worth of equipment. I have no problem with it. You left it at my house. He's not like that. Not at all. No. We're still waiting for this guy to get this damn check that's not coming to him. And it's too heavy for me to push in the street anyway, so that's why I haven't taken matters into my own hands. So, he doesn't want to hurt the guy, and he doesn't want to, whatever it is, he doesn't like confrontation. Libras don't. Aquarians could give a crap about confrontation. Once it's done, it's over with, and we never have to discuss it again. So, I'm not saying that he's right or I'm right.
Right.
He's very big-hearted. And because of that, he gets taken advantage of a lot. And I am big-hearted, but I don't show it. You earn that.
I know. I already know all about you. Listen.
I know you know all about me.
You're not, Yeah. I already know all about you.
You're not hiding as much as you think you are.
Yeah, well, just saying.
I get it. So I sometimes will refer to Aquarians as being, having such a hard time. They're working so hard to be unique that they're just like everybody else, really, when it comes down to it.
Yeah, because you're good-hearted too. You just are. I mean, you get hurt feelings, and when the hurt feelings come in, you're angry and you shut them down.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
I think she got muted. Hang on. Push one, Carol. Push one. There you are. Carol.
Okay. I'm here.
You got so excited you cut yourself off.
You bumped your.
But I'm just. Yeah. See, I already know about you, Melissa. Listen, I shouldn't be saying it on the air, but I know. I already got it. But
that's it. Now I've done you down and kill you for giving away all my secrets on the air.
Well, you're a good-hearted, You really are. But that's the thing. You get hurt, and then once you're hurt, you shut them down.
I have trust issues. That's where it comes down to, is that I do have trust issues, and because of certain things that have happened in my life. And so, yes, I do. I have a very hard shell, and that's my protection. And, although it's not as hard as it used to be, but even for professional purposes, too, I do maintain a certain standoffishness to people, because energetically I want to draw the right people and not just everybody all the time. That's overwhelming.
I know.
So, yes, but there are certain things, and being in business has kind of sort of done this to me in a way. When I first started in this business, I just wanted to help everybody. I wanted to, if you needed help for free, I'll help you for free right now. I mean, it was such a mistake that I had to learn, because it's not just about not getting money for it. It's not just about not being able to pay your bills. It's about that person that you helped one time messaging you every single day, every time they had to make a decision about anything, including what color underwear they should wear today, because they had an interview with them, wanted to know what their power color was. And that actually happened. And so this is, it's such a hard thing for me to balance being approachable with being not approachable at the same time. So I just walk around confused. Yeah, I just walk around confused because, I have to take it on a case-by-case basis or not at all. And that's kind of what it comes down to. But you Libras, we love you Libras, and us Aquarians love you Libras, because we can talk all night about anything, and meet on an intellectual level, while Libra also has the ability to be able to teach us standoffish Aquarians that it's okay to have a heart every now and then. And I've learned a lot of diplomacy from my Libra husband that I did not have before my Libra husband. I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful for that. I still wish he'd make decisions faster, but that's okay. We still got time to work on that.
Well, I whatever's coming up, I guess I'm going to deal with it. But I will tell you, Melissa, I'm just going to tell you this. As you were going through life, pain changes everybody.
Right.
And with pain, it makes you leery. Pain makes you leery.
It does.
Because you're trying to protect you.
Right.
And every time there's pain involved, whether it be, whether it be grief, no matter what kind of pain it is, it always changes everybody.
Right.
And makes
but we can't avoid it. And we can't avoid it.
No. I know, and it sucks. I gotcha.
Yeah.
But
no, I get it.
No, because it's like, why is this happening? And I have a big heart because I don't want it to happen to anybody. So
right.
Right.
And that is a bad thing for those people, because you're not helping them.
I know.
By trying to help them eliminate that pain at the same time. And I've learned that a lot over my life, and the only time I really remember feeling like I really wanted to change the situation was when my daughter-in-law's mom died. If I could have done anything to prevent that, I would have for her, knowing that there was a reason that she was dealing with this pain when she did. I still didn't. It hurt to see her.
I get it. I really understand.
Mhm.
I really do.
I'm
not saying that. I'm telling you. I know.
I know. And you know what? This year's our time to shine and be awesome. Okay.
Yeah, actually, this is a good year, because I'm going to tell you something. Number one, this is a 3-year. This is a, where things are going to be a bit lighter. But the thing, it really is. It's a 3 universal year. You are absolutely correct.
Yes, I do feel that it's a lot lighter, and that things are going to run a little bit more smoother, and it gives us all an opportunity to get our heads out of our behinds and figure out what to do from here. At least that's how I see it. Yeah.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. That, I mean, in my opinion, yes, I understand that. But I will tell you this, and I've noticed this, and I'm sure you've noticed this, and everybody listening's noticed this. Time has sped up. So because time has sped up, and you have to realize this. Things are going so quickly. So quickly.
I've noticed it. I can't even believe it's 2019. I'm still stuck in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. I didn't even realize that much time had gone by. It is. It's going a lot faster than it did.
Yes, it is. And with that, see, that's what I wonder, like with these new planets and stuff. I know I can't keep going here. But with these new planets and stuff,
You got time.
Oh, can I? Good. Listen, I got a question for you, girl. This is it. These new planets they're behind them, could that, I know it could. It could have an effect.
It could have an effect, as all the other planets in astrology and in astronomy, all of these planets together, as each one of these planets individually were found, especially the faraway ones that we didn't see, were added to the astrology chart. It is highly possible that they will be added as influences to the astrology chart from here on out. But that's not unusual.
I know, but I just wonder,
They will have influences, and we will have added influences to the chart that we didn't take into consideration before. Absolutely.
I'm curious.
What's that?
I'm just very curious about stuff. I'm a curious person. And I just keep thinking it has to have some effect. It would have to. I would think, logically.
Yeah. You got to think, too, that the, what do you call them? The secondary body planets, like Chiron, those were added much later after the planets. So they're only, our knowledge of them is only about 100, 150 years old because they're so small. So as our science grows, our astrology reach is going to grow as well, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out and how they're going to read in the astrology charts in terms of our personality.
Right.
But I'm sure that it will be added at some point.
Yeah, because I think to myself, and just like everybody out here, we all have intuition. We've all got strong intuition. But we always, and I'm bad at this, I'm going to tell you, because I want to research things and I want to read things. But for God's sake, I have the ability to figure it out myself.
Exactly. But the problem is, and I notice this with most mediumship classes that I teach, is that when people are doing research, let's say astrology is actually a really good example because I teach a lot of astrology classes too. People get confused with astrology. There is so much information that you can learn from astrology, from books and from research and things like that. You wind up overloading yourself on facts. And mediumship specifically is you can give as many facts as possible about mediumship, and in some cases you can even take some of that information. Like, okay, yes, I have smelled my mother's perfume out of nowhere, and so I can I can grasp that. But part of mediumship is practice. And if you're not getting the practice, and that's where it works with a teacher the best, because a teacher is going to have you, okay, we're going to do readings now, is going to have you do that and learn to use that process. All the research in the world is not going to get you where you need to go in that instance. So you have to be able to use it in some way. You can do that with astrology to a certain extent without the mediumship and psychic abilities. But when it comes to mediumship with psychic ability, even with empathy, all the research in the world is just going to give you more facts. It's not actually going to show you how it works for you individually because everybody is different.
Correct.
Right. So
yes.
The key is that once you connect with yourself to get those answers, the biggest problem everybody has is okay, well, I got the answer, but how do I know it came from my guides? How do I know it came from my higher self? How do I know that that's really what's going on? And that right there kills it for everybody as soon as you start second-guessing it. And that's where having an analytical mind goes against you in terms of spirituality, because you overthink it to death.
You're right.
But it can be overcome because I have an analytical mind and I can do mediumship. So I learned how to use my brain instead of letting my brain use me.
Oh, I could tell you lots of stuff, Melissa, but I won't.
Well, I just want to say good luck to you, Carol. I think that there's some amazing things that are going to be taking place for you this year. I really do. They're going to be a little scary, but that's okay. Scary is good.
Yeah, I'll get through it. I got you. All right. Well, thank you so much, Melissa, for, it was great talking to you.
Great talking to you, too, and Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you. All right, bye-bye.
Happy New Year, Carol. You take it easy. Okay, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Kiss my ass, Chris. She hung up. It's about the psychic. It's just like who's that person that's like pushing the buttons? I used to make fun of people like for that. Don't worry about me over here. I'm
okay. I don't need any water. It's cool.
I'm only the asshole that pays for the damn show, but don't worry about me. I think it's funny though, because they're like so hooked into the reading part of it, and that's good. That's good. So here we are. Let me just see here. We got about 7 minutes. So can you give us a quick weather forecast for at least for maybe give us for the rest of January, just like in general, anything we should watch out for, and then we'll worry about February when you come back. It'll be your birthday.
It'll be my birthday. I actually can't wear. I just got crown for Christmas, so I can wear it on my birthday, but I don't think I can wear the crown and the headset at the same time, unfortunately.
That's funny. Yeah, you're back on the 12th, which is 2 days before your birthday.
3, but yes.
15th, that's right.
Yeah, it's that week, yes, and I will be partying it up that week. You bet.
Awesome. Because when you get old, you have a birthday week. After 50, you should have like a birthday month, and after 60, it should be your birthday every day because you're still alive.
Oh, well, I actually jumped ahead on that because it's already my birthday, and it's January, so...
You're funny. Any month that ends with a Y is
my birthday, right? Well, I mean, we got like 11 days, and then the sun moves into Aquarius. So, I mean, that just kicks off the whole celebration.
Listen, any month that has a minimum of 28 days in it is your birthday, okay?
I agree. Yes, okay. I agree. So moved in second to have a gavel. We'll accept that and put it in the minutes. That's awesome.
It's in the minutes.
It's in the minutes, right? That makes it real. I'm on the board of directors for a nonprofit organization. Yeah. It didn't come across in that conversation, but okay. So some horoscopes for January here, and okay. So first off, what do we have going on? I'm just going to run through really quick to each sign just to let you know if you have any influences, what the focus is, a little mini reading, blah, and we'll just do it real fast. So we're going to start with Aries. I always start with Aries because Aries is the baby of the zodiac and the first sign, and which starts on the vernal equinox. So we're going to start with spring. When the sun moves into Aries. But for January, we've got a couple of different things. Of course, we've got Uranus in retrograde in Aries. We've also got Mars coming into Aries as well. Again, these influences can be really good influences, can be a little difficult. It just depends on where they're influencing. At the beginning of the month, Uranus's influence is on self, and Aries and taking care of themselves, and it's all about what they need to do, not necessarily focused on what everybody else has to do. Mars is literally moved into Aries right at the beginning of the month. So he's already there. Mars in Aries is good because we're talking ruling planet in its home sign, and they can and Aries can really use that Mars energy because it really is an aggressive energy, which works very well for most Aries who tend to have a more aggressive energy, being a fire sign. It's very motivational. But because of the fact that it is influencing that secret house, that 12th house, we can go to aggressive and a bad note really fast. So for Aries, my advice for Aries this month is to take everything one day at a time. Don't let it all pile up, because that's when the explosion happens. The good news is that most of the time an Aries has an explosion and then they're over it. So a few mini explosions are really not that big of a deal, because, that's part of the process or part of getting through it. But you don't want to hold on to all of your frustrations until it turns into a great big explosion, because it's probably not going to work out for you. Taurus, being that we have the Uranus influence in Taurus, but it's not in Taurus, it's on the cusp of Taurus. So it does influence, but it's not as heavy of an influence. With Uranus in retrograde, Uranus is the planet of individuality, independence, uniqueness to a certain extent. When it's retrograde, we're falling more back on traditional values or ways things are always done. I guess that makes sense. For Aries, that can be a little difficult. For Taurus, it's right up their alley because Taurus is a fixed sign. They don't like things changing anyways. However, this won't happen in January, but it will happen in a few months. Once Uranus goes direct, then that full direct influence is coming back into Taurus, and it's going to shake things up to where you need to change things because the old way isn't really working, and the best way to get things to change is, of course, to start a new way of doing it. That might be a little difficult for Tauruses, but I have full faith in them. In January, though, you don't have to worry about that. The main focus of January is on the self, in some cases a little bit on the past as well, maybe past memories, sort of pertaining to current events type of a thing. Not necessarily a bad thing, not necessarily a good thing. It kind of is what it is, and I do get a mixture of a little bit of both there. Some of it can be difficult, but for the most part, it's not so bad, really. Good memories here. Also have Juno in Taurus this month as well. Juno is one of those secondary bodies, and Juno is known as Juno is all about relationships. So its influence is relatedness to other people, and it's not necessarily love relationships, it's all relationships. So the way that it's placed in the house of self currently right now, I feel that this has a lot to do with Tauruses really taking the time to do an inventory on their relationships. Which relationships are really working for me and which are dragging me down? And you want to, of course, cut as much of the ties as possible with the ones that are dragging you down and really embrace the ones that are working for you. Gemini is going to start off in the house of the mind. There's totally not anything surprising about that, since Geminis happen to be very logical and tend to think a whole lot. And so in the beginning, I would say that Geminis are usually that sign that really is planning out their year. It doesn't necessarily mean that, unlike Virgos who tend to actually follow through with their plans, Geminis don't always follow through with their plans. They come up with a lot of really good plans. They get things started. Whatever doesn't work falls off. Whatever they really want to be focused on, they stay focused on. As the month progresses, it's going to go through the influences of the past and also the influence of self, or right there on the cusp of the house of self at the end of the month. And so what that's going to do is, in a way, some of these ideas that Geminis are coming up with, you want to look at past influences in a different way. A lot of people look at it as, I tried this in the past, it didn't work, I'm not going to do it again. But in some cases, just because you tried it in the past and it didn't work doesn't mean that there isn't another way that might be able to make it work. So if it's one of those past memories maybe or ideas that you had that didn't work but it keeps nagging at you, Gemini, it's a good idea to revisit that idea and see how you could improve on it. That's where that comes from. Cancers, it's the same thing. Cancers are going to start off the year really focused on home, probably because they're homebodies. They're exhausted from the holidays and all of that, and going around and talking to people. I have a Cancer son. Ever since the holidays, he's been in his room. So I think that's his way of decompressing. Cancers love their little cave or their little, their little safety place. As the month progresses, though, they're going to move more into a very logical, idea-based, sort of an analytical position, for lack of a better word. And this is actually going to really boost things for Cancers in terms of coming up with some really fantastic ideas. And again, that past influence is very strong with Cancers too, in terms of either ideas for creating your space, ideas for, they could be financial ideas, they could be, if it's like in my son's case, it's an idea of building a new thing out of Legos, whatever. And not just the planning aspect of it, but the actual starting of the process of doing something about these goals, getting these goals in motion. What's really good about that for Cancers is it gives them something to focus on that's, one, outside of themselves, and two, outside of everybody else, because Cancers tend to be one of those signs that sacrifices themselves for other people a lot. This is a good means of being able to look at something that's actually going to improve what you're going through without getting sidetracked by the baloney that's going on with everybody else. Leos are going to be really focused this month on home and family. Both of those particular, home and family, they really do go together. We're going to start off the year really focused on those that you love and end the month with being focused on the home and how to improve the space that you're in right now. For Leos, Leos are very family-oriented sign anyways, so this is a good thing, but there's always a flip side to it. You can be really focused on your family. You can love your family. You can love them more than life itself. You can even love your home, but Leos are a fire sign, and sometimes too much of anything is too much. So I do feel that there is a possibility there that Leos may actually find a struggle in being focused on their home and family because of this issue. It's almost like they need a little bit of independence. And at the beginning of the year, this makes sense for fire signs because it's sort of the time of the year where they want to bust out and start doing new things or trying new things. If you feel that way, Leos, don't beat yourself up. Don't take it out on your family. Just go and do that. That's like the best advice that I can give you. Virgos are going to start off the year in planning mode, specifically their daily activity planning mode, I should say. And throughout the course of the month, they're going to move from that planning to a focus on those that they love, or specifically their family element. When I say focus on those that you love, it doesn't necessarily mean just your spouse and your children. It can mean any family member. It can even mean friends that you see on a regular basis. These are people that are in your life all the time. And for Virgos, I think Virgos have a tendency to work, plan, try and get your ducks in a row. It's constant work for them to make sure that everything is spot on and perfect at all times, because this is how Virgos are. And starting off the year, focusing on your daily schedule and then moving so quickly into other people, it's kind of sort of telling me that it's time for Virgos to incorporate more of their fun time and more enjoyment time into their schedules, especially after the last few months of the year where it was plan this and plan that, and they were parties and it was great and you are hanging out and having fun, but it seemed like it was such a lot of work to do this. We're talking planning family time to where you buy some pizzas and all of your time is focused on hanging out with the people that you love, not necessarily planning this big party. You're planning your schedule around these parties, kind of a thing. So it's a good time for goals, for the goal-oriented Virgos, but it's also a good time to remember that it's just as much for your benefit as well as everybody else's to incorporate time with your loved ones into that schedule. Libras are going to start off really focused on relationships. And then they're going to move more into focusing on their day-to-day activities. So again, there's a little bit of an opposition there with Virgo, only there's a difference. Libras have a tendency to, of course, focus on everybody else before themselves. And as the month moves from one end to the other, Libras are going to realize that actually they really do need to focus on themselves first, and everybody else comes second or after that, even if you have to come up with a hierarchy of importance of people in terms of who comes first. So I feel that for a lot of Libras, this is more less about needing to spend more time with people and more focused on needing to make sure that your time is spent wisely, focused on other people when it should be, but focused on your own goals the majority of the time. Libras also have a tendency to allow other people to be an excuse as to why they didn't do something, which, shame on you, Libras. You should not be doing that. They're not the only sign that does that either. Scorpios are going to start off focused on money, and with that start off focus on money at the beginning of the year, the Moon and Venus and Ceres, which is in their secondary planet, pardon me, we're all in conjunction in that money house. This is a very good and positive thing because for Scorpios, creativity means everything. They are a very empathetic sign. They're a very intuitive sign. They're a very feminine sign, even though they're masculine because they are a water sign. To have all of these quote-unquote feminine creative elements come together around any kind of plans that you're making financially is a really good way to start off the year. As we progress towards the end of the month, you're going to find that your focus is more on the relationships that you have around you and less necessarily on monetary things. With that focus, there also we lose Venus and of course the Moon, because the Moon is going to move on. The Moon will be in Scorpio a couple of times, but Venus is going to move on out of the sign by the end of the month as well. And also, as we are turning our focus more onto relationships, it's again more about the relationships that mean something. I think that Scorpios have a tendency to do relationship inventories probably more than any other sign because they get so emotionally attached to people, or their attachments tend to be really, really deep, and therefore they can be really standoffish until you earn that trust type of a thing. So because of that, they tend to go through more relationship inventory than the rest of us do. The rest of us will deal with it for a long period of time until you actually really prove to us that you're obviously not good for a relationship with us. This is a good thing for Scorpios, of course, because Scorpios put a lot of energy into their relationships. This is also an inventory of how much energy the Scorpios need to put into their relationships. Do they have to put their entire energy into it, or do they ration some of that energy, maybe put half their energy into other people and the other half into themselves? Again, it's sort of a time for Scorpios to be able to analyze exactly how much energy they're putting into each part of their life so they know that they're putting the right amount of energy into everything. Moving on to Sagittarius. Sagittarius has Jupiter in Sagittarius and will for probably until about August, September or so. Now, Jupiter's retrograde is also going to take place this year, but I do believe it is in Sagittarius because it was in Scorpio last time. Jupiter's in a sign for a full year. It's been in Sagittarius already for a minute, as it's 11 degrees into Sagittarius, and Jupiter is Sagittarius' ruling planet. One of the things that we do have going on this year, and it's kind of a runoff from last year a little bit, but this year we're going to start off a lot of planets in their ruling sign right at the beginning of the year. Jupiter in Sagittarius is all about growth. It's the bigger, better, more planet. It's the huge planet. It can also be associated with being a little greedy, or even that what they call my eyes were bigger than my stomach kind of a thing, where you gather too much food on your plate and realize that your stomach is down there going, I don't know if you realize that I'm not as big as you think I am, kind of a thing. With Jupiter starting off the year in money, this is a good thing because this is about growth opportunities on a financial level. And at the very beginning of the year, or at the very beginning of the month, I'd say a weekend about now, we've got Venus coming into Sagittarius as well, which brings a lot of creative influence because Venus is the planet of creativity, and she's a very feminine influence. Now, Sagittarians are not known to be feminine, whether they're male or female, so this might be a little bit of a difficult energy to deal with for the month, and it is only for about 3 weeks out of the month, and then by the first week of February, she'll be moved on out. What this just means for Sagittarians is, well, I can say it in a joking way, actually. If you have crazy ideas normally, they're going to be extra crazy this month because of that Venus influence, because they're going to be a lot more creative than normal. That being aside, in terms of crazy ideas, they could be fantastic ideas. And I would have to say that any Sagittarius really should not poo-poo the ideas that they come up with, because a lot of the times they're fantastic ideas. You just don't know where they're going to go because they may be an idea that nobody else has come up with. And that is why Sagittarians are as awesome as they are, because they have a tendency to think outside of that box. So it is going to it's going to provide more creative ways to earn money. It's going to provide ways to expand your finances. It could even play out in terms of saving. So maybe you're not getting more money, but you're saving some of the money, that you're saving more of the money that is going out than normal. Because in terms of growth of finances, that influences it as well. As we move on to later on in the month with Sagittarius, the focus is going to be, it's still on finances, but now we have this influence. We're ending the month with the influence of the moon and Venus, again, in conjunction with each other, right at the end of Sagittarius, not quite enough to be considered on a cusp. Still in Sagittarius. So this very feminine creativity is really strong for Sagittarians this month, because these two planets seem to be almost following each other when it's almost impossible to follow each other, if that makes sense. So that's kind of it's kind of a cool thing in a way. The other thing that seems to be coming up with this too is that Jupiter's influence is going to move into relationships. So this is a good, really, really solid opportunity to build on some really exciting relationships, which is something that Sagittarius is really good at. Sagittarius loves people, and as many different people as possible. They seem to accept everybody regardless of what's going on, but which is a good thing. So that expansion of people is really necessary for Sagittarians, because they really need people in a way, and they need lots of different people, not just the same people over and over again. Capricorns, we still have Pluto in Capricorn. It's 21 degrees, probably still going to be there for a few more years. I'm sorry to say this to Capricorns, because I feel like I've been saying it since I started astrology, which feels like the dawn of time, but it really was only about 10 years ago. But at the same time, I'm not really looking forward to him leaving Capricorn, because that means he's going to be in Aquarius for 20 years. I'm not really sure how I'm going to like that. But also we have Saturn in Capricorn as well, also Capricorn's ruling planet. Saturn is a planet of responsibility. Neither one of these planets are retrograde right now, which is a good thing. Pluto is all about change, and we're going to start off with a little bit of a focus on career, and we're going to move on to focus more in terms of personal growth, maybe some education, maybe some travel. And things for Capricorns are very strict and rigid in their work and how they do things to begin with. Pluto's influence has been about change with Capricorns and a lot of change. And if you don't want to change, that's fine. The universe is no problem forcing you into that change kind of a thing. It's really probably frustrating for Capricorns, but the more malleable and the more cardinal they are, the easier it's going to be for them because these changes are necessary for the growth of the Capricorn. The other thing in terms of Saturn and its responsibility is that responsibility influence is really helpful in terms of making money. And Saturn towards the end of the month is focused right there on the cusp of your education and your money. So it's external and internal growth when you think about it. This is going to help Capricorns really understand just how necessary it is to overcome certain things. And this is really hard for Capricorns to do. Every Capricorn I've ever known is like, no, this is my emotional crap and I will keep it. Thank you very much. These planets are kind of sort of lining up to ask Capricorns not to do that anymore because it's more beneficial for them to be a little bit more open to the change in the experiences. Aquarians are going to start off the month with a focus on those that love us, those that love you. At least the house is the house of love received. Also, Vesta is going to be influencing Aquarius at the beginning of the month as well. Vesta is a secondary body that's known as the hearth. It represents that space where you feel is home, where your hearth is. So I always interpret it as the home that I grew up in. That's the hearth. And that if I was able to go back to that home that I grew up in, which I'm not, that would be my home space kind of a thing. So what that means for Aquarians, it's a little bit out of the box for Aquarians really, because when you're focused on the house of love received, you're sort of actually your focus is on how people perceive you and how people love you. For Aquarians though, they can have a tendency to have a very open-minded view of love, but they also can have a very skewed view of love. It just depends on the individual. We're going to hope for open-minded because that seems to be the better option. And as the month progresses, Aquarians are going to be focused more on career. Now, at the end of the month, the sun is going to be in Aquarius, which means it'll be Aquarian time, and we're all going to be rejoicing, at least as Aquarians are. Mercury is also going to be influencing Aquarius at that time. So you have the sun's influence of how you shine and your logic base, your ego base, with the communication, the planet of communication, both influencing all of your goals for your career right at the beginning of the year. This is a very good time to really put down some hardcore goals and stick to them, for crying out loud. And I have to say that being an Aquarian myself, it's really hard to actually stick to anything. We have squirrel moments, like a lot of them. So it's a very good month for Aquarians to start. Of course, being that the sun moves into that sign fairly early on in the year, it's technically the sun's first sign change of the year, does give it some power as well. And to start off the year focused on your career and your career goals is always good for a sign that tends to be not as organized as other signs. And then finally we have Pisces. Of course, Neptune is still in Pisces and will continue to be in Pisces for the rest of January and probably for the rest of the year as well. Again, we have a home planet in its home sign, which is good. With Neptune is the planet of intuition, and for Pisces, I've found that a lot of Pisces have really been opening up in terms of their intuitive abilities, and Neptune has a lot to do with this. Pardon me, I've even been seeing Pisces that are not, I would never in a million years think that they would open up intuitively, and yet they are in some way, shape, or form in their own individual way, and that's really what it's all about. We're going to start off the month with Pisces really focused, again, on that internal closet. So intuitively, and Neptune does also have influences over deep emotional traumas. Pisces are going to start off the year feeling like they're kind of sort of cleaning out that closet. They're getting rid of junk that they don't need to be holding on to anymore. I wouldn't say deep stuff, but more of like, okay, these are the things that have been bothering me in the last year, and I'm gonna throw them away and get rid of them. As the month moves on, Pisces influence is going to be more in the house of love received. And after cleaning out a bunch of emotional junk for Pisces, this is a really good thing to feel like now that they've done that, they do have this support system around them that is there being supportive while they go through this process, and they're to celebrate with them afterwards, which is very important for Pisces because Pisces are very social individuals. So it's going to be a really good, I would say it's a really good month for Pisces. It may feel like it's a little bit sticky and uncomfortable at the beginning of the month, but as you move towards the end of the month, it's going to be, things are just going to open up and it's not going to feel as sticky anymore, and it also won't feel like you're going about it alone quite so much. And, of course, even though the sun isn't going to move into Pisces this month, Pisces, all Pisceans know that next month it's on like Donkey Kong. So there's your, okay, I guess I took a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but there's your rundown. I'm not hearing anything, so I don't know if you muted yourself, Chris.
Yes, I did.
You did. Yes, you did.
So, yeah, that was good. That was actually more than I expected, and I appreciate that. So, so tell people again how to find you.
So the best way to find me is to go to Heavy Metal Psychic on Facebook, like the page, and when I do have promotions and things like that, I generally put them there. You can also email me or message me from that page to book a reading. All of my information is also on that page, so you know how much the readings are and all that good stuff before you book. It's really awesome. Basically, my email is also on that page as well. So there's multiple different ways to get in touch with me through that.
That's great. So thank you. Yay. Here's to, so that's only 11 more shows left this year, Melissa.
That's right. Went down 11 to go, right? I still, actually, I woke up this morning and I was like, didn't I just do a show?
Wow. Because it
time is moving fast.
Well, it is, but yet for me it feels like a long time ago that we did that show. You know what I mean? It's funny.
The last month's show. It feels like we just did that. Yeah.
No, but that's what I mean. Like in so many ways but yeah, it does feel like it's been a long time since I talked to you. So it was good to catch up as it always is. And everybody go and check out Melissa's Facebook and catch up with her there and book a private reading, you know. And are you going to take time off from teaching for a while then?
No, I'm still booking classes, and I am booking classes now. There's also going to be events. You do want to like the Heavy Metal Psychic Facebook page and subscribe to the events, because there will be workshops and mini classes, group classes that are going to be coming up as well. I'm still going to be doing full-on classes one-on-one.
Yeah.
But there will be more like introductory classes in psychic, empath, and mediumship development, and I'll be working with Sherry Gamble on that too. So there'll be sessions with both of us and individually. So yeah, you want to subscribe to the event so that you know when they're coming right away.
Cool. Perfecto. All right, well, thank you, and we better let you get going. We kept you really late. So thanks again, everybody else. Have a good rest of the night, and we will see you back here. Tomorrow night is Wednesday night. We have Kathleen Moore coming. So thanks, everybody, for coming, and especially, of course, Melissa, the Heavy Metal Psychic.
You guys are awesome, and I love my monthly date with you guys.
Awesome. Okay, we'll see you next time. Peace out, everyone. Take care.